As Prime Minister Narendra Modi completes 12 monumental years in office, at the helm of India's development story is infrastructure, the relentless, unprecedented push for infrastructure. Joining us today is a trailblazer who has changed the way this megacity moves. She is fondly known as the Metro Woman of Mumbai, and she currently scripted history by taking charge as the first women commissioner of the BMC. She is none other than Ashwini Bede. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us on this segment. We'll start with under the PM Modi's 12 years. In India's development story, infrastructure has been a major key pillar. You as a leader, leading many infrastructure major projects, how do you assess this transformation?
So this is indeed a wonderful transformation because infrastructure plays a dual role. First of all, it brings so much of money in the economy. It boosts local businesses, it boosts many equipment suppliers, then labor market, and at the same time it builds the infrastructure which is needed for the flight of the economy. And India, as we are moving ahead with our development plans, infrastructure is a major contributor to economy, and I think this special boost and encouragement to build the infrastructure which the country deserves, it has been remarkable, and it has achieved remarkable success too.
Right. Ma'am, in the ongoing PM Modi's tenure, there has been a distinct shift to prioritizing urban infrastructure growth. As an administrator and leading major infrastructure projects, how do you assess this change in philosophy in urban planning?
I think after independence, we saw ourselves as rural economy, and the administration also has that rural bias. So most of the development programs are focused on rural development and related activities. But India kept on urbanizing, and a lot of unregulated urbanization also happened. And slowly the government's shift started towards urban development. And we know that we have the vision of 2047. Now we are talking about Vikasit Bharat. Even if you take Maharashtra as part of that Vikasit Bharat journey, Maharashtra today is more than 50% urbanized. But we are seeing that by 2047 we will almost be 75% urbanized. That is the kind of vision which we have. If that is the case, and so much of population is going to get concentrated in urban areas and the city centers, then the cities need to be equipped to take care of that population load, make those cities livable. Only having that population and making them live in slums and shanties is not the goal. That city has to be an economic engine also, which generates wealth and which makes people going forward. So to enable the cities to have that status, it is very important that the urban infrastructure improves. And when by urban infrastructure I mean there has to be an ease of travel, there has to be ease of living, there has to be ease of business, and all these this kind of vision would be possible only if we have right kind of infrastructure in place. And that is why I think Honorable Prime Minister and the government has been emphasizing on urban transport, rail based urban transport, urban housing, all kinds of amenities, good water supply, good sewage treatment projects. So all this form the component of urban infrastructure, and there has been major emphasis. Programs have been devised for that, funding is being made available, clearances are easily made available. So this shift is again amazing, and it is in consonance with the requirement of our times and with the vision which we have for 2047.
Absolutely, ma'am. Ma'am, you're fondly known as the Metro Woman of Mumbai, the woman behind that transformation. And last 12 years have seen various ranges of multi-terrain and multimodal transport. So now how fulfilling is it for you to connect Mumbai's transport to a broader level of connectivity at a national level?
No, I am really happy that I have got a very prolonged opportunity to work in Mumbai's urban infrastructure sector. I have been working here since 2008 and has got an opportunity to start and finish many important urban infrastructure projects, including the Eastern Freeway and elevated road to airport, and the first metro which was done on PPP, the first monorail. The change which I am sensing is, earlier our focus was mainly on roads, elevated roads, flyovers, but slowly it became, the picture became more holistic, and not only one road or a series of roads, but overall how do you improve the ease of travel or ease of movement in a city, and that basket includes everything: the mass rail or rapid transit system, then the feeder system, then the last mile connectivity. And now government is thinking of this in a very holistic manner. Even if you look at the metro policy or the urban challenge fund which Government of India has launched, everywhere they are saying that not only one metro project, but the entire journey needs to be planned. And for that, the physical infrastructure, the software infrastructure in the form of NCMC cards or apps like Mumbai One, where all modes of transport are brought together in a soft manner, so that for the commuter, even if they are physically different than each other and physically distinguished, but for him the journey planning remains the same. So these are the changes which government has brought, and as somebody who has looked at the road transport as well as line like the underground metro line which Mumbai has, I feel it's a very satisfying experience for me when all the dots are connected and the commuter is kept at the center of this discussion, and the ease of commuting for commuter by every means is being focused on.
Absolutely, ma'am, and that is actually visible on ground. Now, the emphasis on timely delivery and execution has been the sharp focus of this governance under 12 years, if we see from the center. For you as an administrator, sometimes did it get challenging, in terms of when you're executing and for public accountability and for delivering on time?
Yes, it has always been challenging, because executing such huge infrastructure projects in the brownfield environment of an urban metropolis, where land is a scarce commodity and there are multiple demands and claims on that land, implementing infrastructure projects are really challenging. The challenges are of two types. One, the regulatory challenges, different kinds of approvals are needed, CRZ clearance for Mumbai, environmental clearance because they are mangrove lands and protected forests. Then many a time the lands belong to various government agencies, state government as well as central government, defense land, railways, airports. So all those permissions are required for most of the projects. That is one aspect. Another aspect is the land acquisition, because you need to acquire land from private properties, private owners, and lands in cities are always very valuable. So how to acquire that land? And third component for a city like Mumbai is the rehabilitation, because there is not a single piece of open land, unencumbered land available. So the whatever lands are there, you have to acquire them from the owner, but you have to settle and rehabilitate the occupants, whether they are tenants or whether they are slum dwellers or protected structures, we have to do that. So all these issues, they pose challenge and they delay the project. But what has happened, this government has made a very good system that all these issues are monitored very well. Earlier we used to do it, but we have to literally fight for each and every component of it, and then sometimes we used to get tired also. But now, since there is a very stringent monitoring mechanism at different levels, including a war room at Honorable Chief Minister's level and a war room at Honorable Prime Minister's level, because the Pragati review is kind of that war room where all the interagency issues are documented, they are brought together, they are put on a timeline and a calendar, and then they are monitored at the highest level. The message which strongly goes to various agencies who are part of that process, being the regulatory authority, the message is very clear that they have to look at those proposals and take their quick decisions. If for some reason one particular approval cannot be given, then some alternative has to be found out. So everybody is on their toes now. A platform like Gati Shakti, which is again a very excellent example of technological intervention to ensure that the interagency coordination happens at the right time in the right manner, because their all layers are already laid, and you while at the time of planning your the project itself, you can see what exactly is there on the ground. So, though you do detailed investigations later, but that initial snapshot of what is there on the ground is easily available on Gati Shakti platform. So, these are the things which have this kind of technical and technological intervention, and creating these platforms, bringing all agencies of the state and central government on that platform, and at the same time the physical monitoring which is happening. And second, and the last and most important point is the emphasis on problem solving and solutions. So, you should not make any point as an excuse to delay the project, but come up with a solution, and that solution will be immediately approved. That is the approach with which the government has been working, and those values are now kind of adopted by officers like me, where we also keep the same approach, that the project is to be done. Whatever problems are there, if the policy is not supporting, then please get the policy changed. If regulatory authorities have certain expectations in terms of designing the project or creating mitigation measures, then please make them part of the project. So, this is the approach. There is a huge shift in approach, there is a huge paradigm shift in the way the projects are being dealt with.
Ma'am, taking charge as the first ever women commissioner of BMC, scripted history, indeed a very proud moment for Mumbai and Maharashtra itself. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been envisioning a shift from women's development to women-led development. How do you see and how do you feel embodying that vision, leading so many projects and now leading the most powerful civic body in the country?
That is really a matter of happiness, pride and privilege which I feel. And government's commitment to women-led development is obviously very palpable and visible. Even in Maharashtra, you say recently we had our first women chief secretary. Many senior positions are now occupied by women, very important. Our home secretary is a lady, energy secretary. Apart from that, divisional commissioner, 4 divisional commissioners are women officers, and there is no bar for any women officer to lead or take hold of a position, because that glass ceiling looks like it is getting shattered. So, I am really happy to be part of that whole transformation process, and BMC is a is a great organization with a great legacy. Some advantages points for me to be in this position is I have worked in Mumbai since 2008. So, it is a very long experience for any officer belonging to Indian Administrative Service to be in one city and work in different capacities in that city to understand issues, nuances of the overall development and administration of the city, be it infrastructure, be it housing, be it land use, how the development plan process is done. So, most of the things I have seen very closely while implementing infrastructure projects. I have also worked as additional municipal commissioner in Mumbai for 4 years, and that too during COVID period. I was heading the COVID war room, and as you all know that Mumbai city managed COVID very well, and I certainly, though I was not the only one who was responsible, but I also contributed to that, and that experience has also shaped my overall understanding of Mumbai, strengths of Mumbai, weaknesses of Mumbai. That is one thing. Implementing mega infrastructure projects right from my MMRDA days, I have been dealing with BMC, because for every project you need so many approvals and cooperation from BMC. So, I have worked at a very grassroots level till the highest level, and as AMC BMC I also led the Mumbai Coastal Road South, which we completed in 3.5 to 4 years time, and that itself was a very unique experience. Plus, I got all the insights of how BMC functions, how the decision making happens, how the elected body functions, and how you have to work very closely in a very symbiotic way with the elected bodies as well as the citizen groups and state government entities to keep Mumbai city moving. Now coming back to BMC as a municipal commissioner and his head of the organization, which I know very closely and very dearly, because I know what kind of transformation BMC can bring if it is led in a proper way. During COVID we have seen that, and that's why I'm really happy to be part of that process again.
Lastly, ma'am, you stated very beautifully that all services are for citizens, and you have been emphasizing that about making public transport more accessible and more safer for women. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also spoken about the change of mere governance to ease of living, which you also rightly stated. Now, I just want to ask you, how would you bring that gentle touch, that empathy to further BMC's projects and making sure that an average citizen feels cared for?
I think Honorable Prime Minister's vision of making development inclusive, making it reach to all sections of society, including of course women, making it gender neutral, I think that needs to get reflected in each and every activity of an urban local body. That too, an urban local body like BMC, which serves more than 10 million people. So I personally feel that every activity of ours need to be seen through the lens of gender. Like now we are looking at things from the lens of climate change now, because that is the new reality. Similarly, we have to focus on the inclusivity aspect of every service which BMC provides, every project which BMC does, every infrastructure which BMC does. And that is, from that perspective, I think we need to sensitize our own people. We need to have that focus of, when we talk about inclusivity, it is women, it is people with disabilities, people with having mental issues, and of course the climate and environment related issues. So all these things need to be part of your day-to-day administration. Your policies need to be framed from that perspective. When you do a project, how do you ensure that the women, elderly persons, children, they can also access. So we kept that lens on while executing our Mumbai Metro Line 3 project, and how it is safer for women, how it is safer for every person, whoever wants to use that. So that detailing matters a lot, because finally the devil is in the details. If you only talk about it, policies are there, but when you actually translate those projects on ground and make them operational, that time that intended result needs to be seen, and that is possible only when you work with sensitivity. You look at all these aspects, right from the access to comfort and safety. So all these issues need to be dealt with. So the focus of the government on these issues is really making us think differently while implementing projects and while even providing services. So that's what I have also been doing.
Thank you so much for your time, ma'am, and for working tirelessly and for making Mumbai stand out and move ahead in the way it is.